Oh, by the way, President Biden was going to declare a climate emergency, and he went back on it, deleted this tweet because the White House is now saying there won't be a climate emergency declaration tomorrow. While I trust my sources were providing me with good info at the time, I don't want this to keep spreading if it's no longer true. Brandon fucking did another one of those like Joe Brandon did the Turkish ice cream vendor shit. Joe Brandon did the Turkish ice cream vendor shit, and he was like, "Oh, you want climate change? Oop, just kidding. You want to see? You want legislation that will fucking at least like make it more tolerable when the fucking entire planet is either on fire or underwater, sometimes at the same time? Well, nope, just kidding." That's what Brandon did. He was like, fucking pulled that shit right out of your face. Meanwhile, wait, Russell Brand ain't looking too good? Is Russell Brand literally becoming Jordan Peterson? I don't fucking know, dude. He ain't looking too good. He's no, fuck you. We got to protect the Supreme Court. Fuck the Supreme Court. I know you're joking anyway. Here it is. We'll start with that before we get to the Uvalde thing, okay?
We're going to get started this morning with that dangerous heat wave many of you across the country are dealing with.
With sweltering temperatures.
Not even just across the country, but across the world, by the way. London is fucking on fire, bro. London is quite literally, London Bridge is falling down. It is falling down into a pit of fucking fire. The Hoover Dam exploded, I guess. I don't know what the fuck that was about, but that's unrelated to the fucking other issues. London Bridge is falling down. The London Fire Brigade has declared a major incident in response to the surge in fires across the capital as temperatures exceed 40 centigrade. Now, for people that don't understand, 40 degrees, you're living in Arizona, you're like, what the fuck do you mean 40 degrees? That's nothing, right? Except a lot of these fucking goddamn houses are built in like the 17th century when temperatures were significantly cooler. They are not built for 40 degrees centigrade. Like, they are not built for this level of heat, okay? And none of these fucking houses even have aircon, as I personally experienced when I was fucking out there. That shit is crazy. A transformer fire sparked a blast at the hydropower plant on Lake Mead. That was the explosion? Okay, got it. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting that they have no AC. I can't imagine they don't have great insulation either. Well, part of it is because, like, they didn't need it, right? Temperatures were never this fucking hot. But people legit think that, like, people cannot comprehend how fucking bad it is. People legit cannot comprehend how fucking bad it is to be in the UK when it's like 40 degrees Celsius. They don't understand what 40 degrees Celsius is, okay? And they also don't understand how bad it is when you live in a country that doesn't have the proper insulation for that level of heat because their climate was never this hot, and also doesn't have AC in general, okay? They don't have it. None of these fucking houses have it. I shot an interview with Navarra Media when I was out there, and these dudes have a studio, but like they can't use the air conditioning, partially because like it'll get picked up by the mic, but also because like most places just don't have AC. I mean, here, look at this. Yeah, it's 32 degrees centigrade. All our buildings retain this heat. It's only like 90 degrees, dude. In the UK, our insulation is designed around keeping heat in, not out. Yeah, exactly. It's all good, though. Their ancestors spent centuries in this weather, colonizing the planet. They'll figure it out. I mean, this meme is 100% the truth, though. Americans are like, what do you mean? There's like 90 degrees, dude. It's like, bro, they're fucking melting out there. People are dying from heat exhaustion and shit. Don't say London Bridge is falling down. London Bridge is down is the phrase code used when the Queen will die. Okay, well, she's dead anyway, so they probably used it a while ago. Oh, speaking of AOC, this happened to her too. But we'll do that in a little bit. That was fucking nasty. What a fucking weirdo creep this guy is.
Wennington in Greater London residential area ablaze there. London Fire Brigade say they have 15 engines and 100 firefighters tackling this blaze, which is on the Green in Wennington, Greater London. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, says the London Fire Brigade has just declared a major incident in response to a huge surge in fires across the capital today. This is critical. The London Fire Brigade is under immense pressure. Please be safe. I'm in touch with the Commissioner and will share updates when I have them. London Fire Brigade simultaneously fighting this fire in Wennington, Greater London, and also another blaze in Croydon today. There are around 24 fires up and down the UK yesterday. There's also been another fire in Upminster in Essex today as well. Tinderbox conditions caused by temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. That unwanted UK record broken at Heathrow earlier on today. It remains at 40.2 degrees Celsius. Could creep up, though, towards the end of today. We are keeping an eye on the official forecast for you. But this is the scene in Wennington. As I said, London Fire Brigade declaring a major incident in response to what is happening across...
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London's burning was a correct nursery rhyme.
The Mayor of London saying don't have barbecues on grass or on balconies. Don't leave broken bottles or glass on the grass. It can start fires. Dispose of cigarettes safely and report a fire as soon as you see one. Do not take...
Heathrow was 104 degrees Fahrenheit, by the way. So good luck to those who are flying out of Heathrow.
Take risks. Stay safe in the heat.
At 104 Fahrenheit, the human body needs 8 ounces of water per hour to not die from heat stroke.
What you're watching here is the consequences of not heeding that.
When did people's homes burning become a joke, by the way? Blamo69. What do you mean?
Advice.
Are you talking about me? Dude, what are you talking about? I'm a fucking political commentator. I watch natural disasters and catastrophes every fucking day. I live in California. I don't know what you're talking about. This is like pretty normal stuff at this point. Fuck it, you know? Oh, here, this was really cool. I think this is what I think it is. Oh, no, this is not what I think it is. I saw earlier today, I saw literally like average temperature and how it has changed so dramatically over the past like couple centuries in the UK, by the way. But people keep telling me that because the UK had a heat wave in 1976, climate change is so overhyped. So here's the global heat anomaly maps from June 1976 to June 2022. That's a little different. Does anyone have that? You sound like the meme you just showed. Americans didn't laugh when people were dying in the floods in Texas, but they somehow find this funny. Such hypocrisy. I mean, dude, once again, everybody sees this as a disaster. And there's nothing you can do than, laugh at this point at our dark reality. Oh, yeah, this is it. From the 1600s to now, the annual average temperature, it spikes a little bit, but ultimately it's at like consistently 8 to 9. Hits 10 a little bit a couple times, goes back down. Here, let's speed this up a little bit. Now it's at 10. Like the average of the average annual temperature is now basically stuck permanently at fucking 10 degrees. When it was like 8 to 9, it was like 8 to 9 in the 1600s, and now it's 9 to 10. This visual is pretty shit, not gonna lie. No, first of all, it's an annual average temperature, so it's I I don't know how meaningful it is ultimately to show you exactly how fucking warm it gets. But 1 degrees in over 400 years? Brother, 1 degrees in change over the fucking average temperature is huge, dude. Are you crazy? Do you know what 1 degrees does, dude? Motherfucker just said 1 degrees change. Oh, whatever, dude. That's not that big of a deal. 1 degrees for average is insane, chatter. That is fucking crazy. 4 degrees is literally doomsday. Humanity is fuck change. Yeah, no. 1 degrees is already fucking humanity is fuck change. -3 degrees average decrease gives you a fucking ice age, I believe. Dude, what the fuck? Yeah, over the... Dude. My man said it's only 1 degree change, bro. Yeah, whatever, dude. I'll just turn on the AC, going back to that original meme, but it's literally this. Chatter looked at 1 degree temperature change on average and was like, whatever, dude. Like, what? I'll just fucking turn on the AC 1 degree further. You know what I mean? Yeah, brother. Yee. What the fuck do you mean? Who cares? Four degrees is the beginning of runaway climate change. No wonder people still don't understand climate change. Yeah. 1 degree change is apocalyptic. Like, no joke. 1 degree change is like polar caps melting. You get it? Like, we're fucked. And all of the other, like, you know, gases being released as a consequence of that, like, you know, sea levels rising, like all of that shit. Extreme erratic weather conditions becoming permanent and commonplace. Like major tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, shit like that. What? Ray going to WWE? Exerto, I peeped that TikTok lol. Valkyrie needs to quit playing. She can be my tag partner that doesn't abandon me at WrestleMania. Who is this? Zelina Vega, WWE? What TikTok lol? This would be fire. This is good ass content. Also, people don't realize the stress of everyone turning on their AC this weather puts on the energy grid. Brownouts happen because of this, and more people will die as well. Yeah. What? No shot this is real. What the fuck? Death toll from heat wave in Portugal and Spain rises to 17... What? I don't remember the article, but 2 years ago, scientists predicted the UK getting to 104 degrees Fahrenheit in the year 2050, but they were predicted to do that. But they were predicted to do that a couple years ago. Farmers from South Dakota here, and we've had more hail in the past 5 years than the previous 25 combined. Isn't Florida endangered due to the rise of sea levels? Yes, not just Florida, everywhere where there is like the sea. Here, let's take a look at that. It's not a big deal, right? Climate change is not a big deal. That's just waves, by the way. That's not like a tsunami or anything. That's just waves.
Oh my god. I can't believe I got that on video. Did you get that video?
It's kind of wild that, like, we are literally watching the planet not die necessarily, but kill us right? And kill all life on it. And we're just like, nah, it's all right. Like, even, here's the thing I don't understand. All these, like, fucking Bible nerds and shit, how do you not see the end times? You know what I mean? How? How do you not recognize, like, the end times are happening currently? I guess maybe because it's not, like, direct and immediate. And, like, because it happens over the course of, like, 5 years, 10 years, that, like, those changes slowly but surely become norm. Like, the norm. Sorry, brother, I see it. Still can't believe it, though. Yee. They think they will get raptured. They want it. It's very, very, very strange to watch. I mean, here, another video I'll show you of the fucking climate change like the climate change psychosis. Okay? Here. Where is the New York subway? The New York subway rain video? Like, this is the New York subway every time it rains. Here, waterfalls. Like, look at this shit. Look. Look at this fucking shit, bro. Do you think this is normal? Now, this isn't just that, like, you know, extreme erratic weather conditions are becoming the norm, but this is also a perfect representation of, like, this is also a perfect representation of how ill-equipped we are in the wealthiest nation on earth, in one of the wealthiest fucking cities on the fucking planet that has more billionaires than any other city on the planet. So ill-equipped to deal with it. Like, our infrastructure is dog shit. The couple that hosted the party said they were pissed the footage from their event was used as a part of the climate change Green Deal agenda. I mean, dude, I can't help but be like, all right, I hope you get ass fucked by an octopus then, you know, next time there's a fucking situation like that, you dumb bitch. Seriously, what the fuck do you mean? Like, oh, the climate change agenda. It's like literally hitting you in the fucking face and you can't even comprehend it. Like, you're so fucking stupid. Like, what do you mean? The climate change agenda? You dumb bitch. It's in front of you. It's in your fucking face. Ironically, though, you know who will save us, dude? The motherfucking Dutch. These dudes have literally figured out the technology to build on the sea, okay? If they don't all die from, you know, the inevitable sea level rise, I'm sure they'll be able to figure it out for the rest of us, okay? I'm so Dutch pilled, it's not even funny. I just, all it took was for me to see the Netherlands. I'm done. I hate that. I hate that, like, the Dutch Andes are, like, literally, like, the Dutch lovers, American Dutch lovers and Western Dutch lovers in general are the most annoying fucking dickheads on the internet. Usually. And I don't mean not just Bikes. He's great. But there are so many fucking annoying Andes who are, like, sock dems, you know? That claim that they're sock dems, but they're like piece of shit liberals who act like they're fucking sock dems or whatever. But yeah, I am becoming one of them without being annoying and making it my entire personality to be a fucking yimby. Monsoon season is hitting Arizona right now. Crazy thunderstorms. The wind is still 100 degrees out. It's bizarre. Lan ABD'de oluyor mu? Ulan ne ABD işte oğlum, New York amına koyayım. ABD bu. Oh, this was fun too. Fun little sinkhole moment in New York. Look at that.
It's going.
They're doing that to liberals, brother. God is punishing the libtards. Do we think we can fix it by 2050? The G7 meeting a couple months ago, nothing has happened. We're all dead. The government don't give a fuck about us. They want everything for themselves. No. We won't be able to fix it. Because we can't even have fucking trams and sustainable or more sustainable ways of public transport. Why? Because American car culture is so deeply embedded. It's the capitalist car manufacturers and the oil and gas industry have destroyed the American consciousness permanently, okay? People think that cars are individuality. So you can't tackle it on that front. Our reliance on fossil fuels is also a part of a permanent fixture of our minds. You can't change that. You can't tackle that either. There's nothing we can do about this. I'm sorry to report this, but the only way to fucking tackle climate change is not going to be through capitalism. The only way to tackle climate change, just like any other issue, is the obvious choice that we have ahead of ourselves, socialism or barbarism, okay? And it is very obvious that we are heading towards fascism as a mechanism of control and barbarism as our inevitable demise. Every single day that I live on this planet, I realize that like that is our future, okay? You look at sinkholes opening up in the Bronx. You look at the fucking subway flooding. And then you think, will the Joe Biden administration be able to pass infrastructure change or a comprehensive infrastructure package? No. 33% of Americans have consistently believed that climate change is fake. It's not real. That's what we're living in. Adam something would just say we need leftist corporations. I mean, fuck that guy. Who gives a shit? It's just wild that we are in a situation where like either the country is on fire or underwater for like a good amount of the year. It's just not going to happen. Shell knew about climate change 3 decades ago and kept digging up that planet poison, helping us to get to the point that thousands will die in climate change-induced heat waves. Shell, have you tried not using a tumble dryer? No aircon, no sweat. Here are our tips for keeping cool and saving energy when it's hot outside. Yeah. The individual responsibility to fucking mitigate climate change, anthropogenic climate change, is also a man-made invention by the oil and gas industry. And a lot of you dumbasses, even in this fucking community, and even on the leftist spaces, have eaten that propaganda up. There you go. That's where we're at. Individual responsibility. Let's figure out a way to like, dude, individualism, rugged individualism. Yes, calling everyone dumbasses helps. If someone is a dumbass, should I not admit that? Should I not recognize that? What do you want me to do? Spare their feelings? The unfortunate reality is that this is propaganda. Propaganda that people believe in, okay? So what do you want me to do? Look at this Trump take.
Most dangerous time for our country in history, far more dangerous than World War I or World War II, and that's because of the power of nuclear weapons. And yet you have people like John Kerry worrying about...
Do you believe that individual change is completely useless? Individual change is completely useless if you don't factor in, like plastic utensils and shit, like, not using plastic utensils is not going to fucking move the needle in the same way that like having comprehensive renewable energy agenda that changes our over reliance on the fossil fuel industry away from away towards sustainable energy initiatives that will ultimately also create an entire new industry that's good for the economy as well. You know, like a New Deal. But for renewable energy, maybe like a Green New Deal. You know what I'm saying? This is the future. This is the only way out. Okay? And even then, I don't even know if it's going to be enough. I don't even know if we're going to be able to fucking solve it. I don't even know if we have enough time to solve it. So what will end up happening is doomerism. What will end up happening is more fascist governments as migration inevitably happens as a consequence of climate change, destroying agriculture as we've seen already. Like, part of climate change... part of the Syrian civil war was kickstarted as a consequence of climate change. Crops are going to get eviscerated. People are not going to be able to have food. That's going to create instability and volatility. There's going to be fallout. And when there's fallout, governments are going to want to fucking take over and control. And the only way to control a group of individuals who are starving is by killing them and forcing them into submission. Okay? And then after that submission happens, after that forcible submission happens, people are going to literally leave. They're going to be displaced, and they're going to need new places to live in. They're going to go to Europe and cooler areas, cooler climates. They're going to go to America, countries that have a semblance of stability. Okay? America with Latin America, and Europe with Africa and the Middle East. And the only way to stop that mass migration, instead of accommodating for that mass migration and building housing and doing everything you can to make sure that that people are taken care of, ensuring that people live in livable fucking cities, in sustainable environments in their own home countries, is to create bigger walls, better borders, more guns, and more detention facilities where we can enslave the immigrant population. That's the future. So, I mean, not to be super doomer, but super doom pill, but that is the truth. That is what's happening.
Accuse me of being a climate change denier, which I'm not. I know that we've got to adjust the way we run the world and the way we live in our own societies, because climate is changing, but it's not changing for one reason only, the one reason only being how wicked man is to set fire to the planet in all sorts of different ways. And the reason I think Prince Charles has been so effective is because he's a moderate. And he's talked gently about it and quietly and slowly, you know.
Yeah, that's, by the way, that's the funny thing. This guy is literally doing, Mike Perry is doing exactly what the other chatter was saying. Oh, by calling everyone a dumbass, that's how you're going to tackle climate change? Yeah, dude. Yeah, no. By sparing people's feelings, will you be able to defeat climate change?
He hasn't gone out onto the streets and started gluing his face to tarmac, and he hasn't been pushing big pink boats through city centres and stopping people going about their everyday life. So more people listen to Prince Charles when he speaks than listen to all these, you know, eccentric people who go around trying to stop the world from moving and causing pollution, all that kind of stuff, than listen to Prince Charles. Prince Charles has done a good job, but I do not believe that the climate crisis is only man-made, and I believe that net zero target 2050 is a completely ridiculous target which will ruin all our lives if it's ever achieved.
Judging on Ash's face, I think she might have a little bit to... Well, I
think she would, yeah.
Might have a little bit to say in response.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, sometimes when I do this job, I wonder if even participating in the media is the right thing to do, because we somehow manage to have the stupidest...
Motherfucker said eccentric lunatics. Like who? Scientists, dude? Is that who you mean when you say eccentric lunatics? Unlike you? Like, I'm sorry that scientists don't look like they fuck children like you do, man. My bad. It's eccentric, you know? It's just... They're not nonsense. They look down upon pedophilia, which is unacceptable. They are not even engaging in nonsense.
Ridiculous target.
It's ridiculous.
Sometimes we somehow manage to have the stupidest possible conversation about the single most serious issue that's facing us as a species. 2050 is too late. All right, there's a reason why the UN climate reports are saying that we've got 10 years to take meaningful action. And actually...
What? Ruin our lives, Green Deal, lol? They forget they would make bank on taxes on solar and wind farms?
If we had taken action in the 1970s, in the 1980s, even in the 1990s, we wouldn't have to make such drastic adjustments to how we live our lives. It's because we've wasted all this time having totally pointless arguments, talking about the methods people use to raise awareness rather than the thing they're trying to draw our attention to, that we've ended up, I think, in such a dire position. I mean... We're struggling in 40-degree heat, but by no means is Britain the worst affected.
This is the hottest day ever, so that's why we're struggling.
Where my family are from in Bangladesh, you have thousands of people dying every year because of arsenic poisoning. The reason why there's arsenic poisoning is because they're having to dig up so much earth to build dams to stop the sea levels rising and coming up the delta. Right? That is a reality that's people are facing right now, and instead we are going on about gluing faces or pink boats rather than going, hang on, what's the issue and what needs to be done about
Ash,
it?
I mean, basically, Ash, you are agreeing with Charles here. We should have listened to him, but he started talking about this when he was 21 years old, about plastic pollution. So you're actually agreeing with him.
We should have listened to the scientists who are sounding the alarm, the environmental activists who said, well, look, Charles...
Bro, this is so funny. It's like British media is so inherently reactionary that they can't even they can't look at anything from the lens of here are some nameless scientists, faceless scientists that have been ringing the alarm bells. Not Prince Charles then. Why are you trying to fucking turn this into a tabloid gotcha moment? Fuck Prince Charles, bro. Who gives a fuck? Why do you have to suckle on his little boot? Okay, yeah, he got it right, bro. He got it. Oh man, but the royals, why are you attacking the royals? They had a good one on this one. I mean, slavery and all was not great, but they had a good one here. Who gives a shit?
Charles was one voice in a chorus, fine. I've got problems with his use of helicopters, private jets, whatever, but this isn't about an individual. This is the fact that we have a media conversation which props up billionaire and oligarch polluters and allows them to get away with boiling our planet to a crisp just to make a few people richer.
Is it only man who is, damaging the planet? Is it not meteorological considerations as well? The fact that the Romans were able to...
This is what I mean by having the stupidest possible conversation. We don't have control over sunspots. We have control over how much fossil fuels we burn.
But sunspots happen. And sunspots, funny you should mention that, I was going to bring them up, affect the climate of the Earth.
Again.
And there was a mini ice age. There was a mini ice age between 1300 and 1600, right? The Romans grew vineyards on Hadrian's Wall. It's cyclical. It is cyclical.
I mean, what you're doing is effectively defecating in the public swimming pool.
Dude, it's fucking nuts. It's nuts, dude. I mean, he's gonna die soon, so he doesn't give a shit. But I guess, does he not have grandchildren? Does he not care? You cannot avoid climate disaster. You can avoid it for the next 100 years. Maybe your next of kin will be able to avoid it if you're rich enough. Okay? But ultimately, it's over. We have one planet. It's done. Okay? It's done. So what's up with these fucking dumbass arguments? Oh, well, the Romans, there was a mini ice age. There was a mini ice age. Bro, it doesn't matter. You can look away from the disaster. You can look away at the inevitable climate migrant crisis that's coming, right? You can look away when the government decides to kill them or enslave them for the crime of trying to avoid disasters that we have caused, by the way, because directly the Western world, the industrialized nations, are the primary reason why the third world, underdeveloped countries and non-developed exploited countries are getting fucked over with climate change, okay? Because we're burning fossil fuels at a rate that is significantly higher than them. The average American in their fucking fridge is entire family's worth of electricity just for the year, right? So the notion that this is their own fault or their own responsibility is also ridiculous. Well, the biggest polluter in history is the U.S. military. Yeah. They can't avoid it. Those wealthy cunts can't avoid it. They building bunkers, aren't they? No, they can't though. But they can't avoid it. They actually can't. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You can't live in Waterworld and assume that it's going to be good. Waterworld is not going to be good for anybody.
Of the national conversation and trying to muddy the waters.
No, I'm putting facts forward.
This is stupid.
I'm putting facts forward. They are facts, right?
Totally
and you totally ignore them. You won't respond to me talking about olive groves in Northumberland or the Ice Age, 1300 to 1600.
Because that's got nothing to do.
It's got everything to do with it.
Before one of you starts gluing yourself to something.
Okay, well, I mean, this lady, that haircut alone is automatic L. I'm not trusting what's going on
Back to Charles, which is what we were talking about.
Yeah, let's get back to Prince Charles. More important concept. To anyone who says it's just a summer, here's the NASA climate spiral. It's not Waterworld, it's Salty Water World where no crops can grow. No, Waterworld is Salty Water World. I'm talking about the Not the is it Kevin? No, not Kevin Spacey. What the fuck was it? Kevin Costner movie, which was a really good movie, in my opinion. I agree with her. The issue has nothing to do with capitalism, but has everything to do with the distribution of political power. I love when people say stuff like that. They're like, this has nothing to do with capitalism, but also the distribution of power being in the hands of those who own capital, who end up building governments to go along with their needs and interests, and oftentimes put profit over the interests of the people. And that's, of course, that has nothing to do with capitalism and everything to do with what? You're just like describing how capitalism operates and then turning around and saying, but it has nothing to do with capitalism. If that makes you feel better, then fine, because you've already addressed the problem. You already recognize the problem. You already addressed it, except all those people then always will say profit incentive can work well with climate initiatives. No, it can't. All matter of climate initiatives is anti-capitalist. Why? Because those with the accumulation of power, those with the accumulation of capital are the fucking oil and gas industry. It is literally profitable currently for green energy initiatives to happen. And yet, for some weird reason, everybody thinks AOC means, or Green New Deal means AOC is going to come to your house and fuck you up for eating a hamburger. And that we're going to shoot down planes and instead force people at gunpoint to get on trains. How did that happen? It's not capitalism, but, Shell and BP and Exxon are buying out the remaining fucking green energy companies out there in an effort to literally, one, hedge their bets, okay? And two, slow down the transfer to renewable energy as best as possible. How's that happening? Urgent reminder: the economy is a wholly owned subsidiary of the environment. Fixating on short-term growth while the parent company teeters on the brink of collapse is as myopic as it is negligent. Yeah, I mean, it's true. But that is also, capitalism is about focusing and hyperfixating on short-term growth, and completely casting aside long-term sustainability. And that's exactly what we're doing when it comes to climate change. Here, let's watch this. There's more. Here, let's watch more fucking...
Oh, you see, John, you're outside enjoying the sunshine. It's not too hot, is it?
No, it's absolutely lovely. It's 20 degrees out here. It's perfect. But on a serious note, folks, by early next week, you can scrap 20 degrees. It could well be 40 degrees. I think there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of excess deaths early next week. The charts that I can see in front of me are frightening. So we all like nice weather, but this will not be nice weather. This will be potentially lethal weather for a couple of days. It'll be brief, but it'll be brutal.
Oh,
so,
John,
we can...
So, John, I want us to be happy about the weather and every single... I don't know
what the fuck? She's literally saying, like, don't fuck my shit up, dude. I'm trying to... Hey, John, you're killing the fucking vibes, yeah? You're killing the vibes. It's nice out. Who cares about Granny dying from heat exhaustion, yeah? Don't talk about it. You're bringing down the fucking mood.
whether something's happened to meteorologists to make you all a little bit fatalistic and harbingers of doom. Because all of the broadcasts, particularly on the BBC, every time I've turned on anyone's talking about the weather, they're saying that there's going to be tons of fatalities. But haven't we always had hot weather, John? I mean, what...
Wait, is this like the British Fox News? What am I watching right now? Is this like a joke? Is this like a bit or something? Like, is this British people trying to do Fox News? It's not real, right? Because they're not even doing good. Like, they're not even doing a good job. They're doing demonstrably a bad job of propagandizing the position. It's kind of funny because like Fox News does a better job at this because they've had many, many years of training. And also the target market is like really fucking stupid across the board. I feel as though it's You know, it's not happening in this one.
Wasn't the 76, the summer of 76, that was as hot as this, wasn't it?
No, and we are seeing more and more records, more and more frequently, and more severely. So yeah, some people always hark back to the summer of '76, which was a freak event 40 odd years ago, over 40 years ago. But heat waves are becoming more extreme. This is yet another one which is coming down the tracks.
You didn't know that GB News was literally created to be British Fox News? No, I'm unfamiliar with GB News. GBN is more like Newsmax or OAN, I think. Oh, there's literally a video on why the UK's Fox News didn't work by Munecat. Great. I mean, this is like, this is really, really fucking insane.
And, I don't think we should be too light-hearted about the fact that many are going to die early next week because of the heat. 40 degrees, the sort of temperature that this country, I'm afraid, is just not geared up to cope with. So if
you're just being fatalistic, John.
I would be worried about early next week, how are your workers going to safely get to work? And if you're an employee, then I would be thinking or asking my employer, with potentially railway lines becoming buckled and lots of infrastructure disruption, how am I going to get to work? Should I be getting to work? There'll be COBRA meetings taking place over the next day or so in top-level government as just to how the country is going to cope with this kind of heat. And all the computer models are now in pretty much agreement that it is going to happen, and it's Monday and Tuesday. Now, if you go on the Met Office website, there's an amber warning for extreme heat for Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. I think it's Monday and Tuesday, which is going to see the peak of the heat, when temperatures will be widely up into the mid, possibly high 30s, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if somebody hits 40, and if we hit 40, that will be unprecedented. The highest temperature we've ever reached or ever recorded in this country is 38.7. There's a good chance we're going to smash that.
A lot of Brits would rather be at work with AC than home without AC, it turns out. Johnson didn't even turn up those COBRA meetings again. Yeah, GBN is not working because they have like a dude who is a specialist who is actually saying the right things, like the correct things. In Fox News, they would have had someone be also just as fucking insane as the host themselves, or someone who's better equipped at dunking on the guy and making him look like a silly bitch. Not to say that GBN is good in any capacity. I'm not saying that at all. I don't believe that at all, but certainly that is the reason.
The climate. Oh, I heard that the other day. Here we are, guys, threatening us. He's worried about the ocean will rise 1/100% over the next 300 fucking years.
Damn, he said fucking.
It's crazy. These people are crazy. And, we want a clean environment. I'm a big environmentalist, and the truth is I want immaculately clean water. We want clean air. And we set all sorts of records during my administration, but we can't destroy our country in doing it. China, the air is filthy. Russia is filthy. India is filthy. Japan is filthy. And that filth goes up, and then it blows into our country. And we're supposed to be clean. And we don't have the power with so-called green, the windmills. Remember the windmills? Darling, I want to watch the president. I love him so much. I want to watch him on television tonight. I'm sorry, but the wind isn't blowing. You'll have to wait till another time. Windmills.
There's no batteries. Like, it just doesn't work. Sorry. This is literally the Herschel Walker take. I know. That's why Herschel Walker is goated. Is this your king? I mean, dude, obviously he's a fucking dumb. I think you guys are forgetting that, I'm not I like Trump for the content, but I still think he's a fucking asshole and an idiot and awful in general. Major Japanese and Chinese cities are literal decades ahead of the U.S. in terms of cleanliness, too. Yeah.
They're all made, the windmills, in Germany and in China.
China!
And more crap is poured if you believe in the carbon footprint. Remember with Obama? The carbon footprint must be saved.
Motherfuckers think like, dude, people have like such a weird one-note attitude about renewable energy. It's fucking insane. Like they literally think, there's like levers and pulleys, right? And like when there's wind, the fucking windmill turns. And when the windmill turns, that's how through like a crankshaft, your fucking house is, your house gets electricity. Like there's no storage mechanism. There's no like how the fuck do they think oil works? How do they think oil works? Like how do you think you power shit with oil and gas? How? If crankshaft energy was real, I could power my whole city. Yeah, we're not talking about jerking off, brother.
Then he hops into Air Force One and he flies to Hawaii to play golf.
Biden controls the oil, bro. They're cooked.
Spewing out a lot of fumes.
Yeah, they think energy works like a Rube Goldberg machine. Exactly. They're like, who knows? Who knows how it works? Folks, believe me, energy works. Here's what they said before they privated. Breaking thread. Wait, what? At least one person is dead after a hostage situation at a house occupied by members of the Black Hammer Party, the current name being used by the Black Hammer cult. Shut the fuck up. No way. That's not surprising. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. We might watch the GBN video in a little bit. Once I'm done with like climate change doomerism, because I haven't really covered that in a while. So let's see what the Amerifats have to do about this, though. Since now that we covered like how the world is on fire, let's see what the Brandon administration was going to do about it.
Temperatures putting lives at risk. The White House could reportedly make a big announcement soon. According to the Washington Post, President Biden could declare a climate emergency as soon as this week. The move would come after 2 stinging defeats for the White House. Citing inflation concerns, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin said he would block President Biden's climate legislation, which includes...
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, come on. You just got to, like the gauntlet. Just think about the gauntlet. Think about the gauntlet for a second.
Includes tax incentives for wind and solar power and electric vehicles. The other blow, the Supreme Court's decision limiting the EPA's ability to regulate carbon emissions from power plants. And the extreme temperatures we're seeing through a large portion of the country are putting the issue of climate change front and center. Overseas, historic heat and wildfires are also having a major impact in Europe. The heat wave there is blamed for more than 1,000 deaths in Spain and Portugal. And in the UK, the Health Security Agency announced its first level 4 heat warning, which is the highest possible level. Officials there are calling the brutal temperatures a national emergency. From the U.S. to Europe, we have full coverage this morning with NBC News meteorologist Michelle Grossman and foreign correspondent Claudia Lavanga in Rome. We're going to begin, though, with NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli. So, Mike, we want to start with that Washington Post report that says President Biden...
Adamın soyadı Memoli lan Türkler. Memoli.
Is considering declaring a national climate emergency, and it could happen as soon as this week. That's coming from 3 people.
Memeli. Which means one with titties in Turkish.
With the matter, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss private deliberations. NBC News has reached out to the White House. We haven't heard back yet. So, Mike, what options would declaring a national climate emergency give the president when it comes to fighting global warming and climate change?
Well, first, Joe, let's just be clear. The president has made it clear as they issued a statement on Friday saying that climate action remains an urgent priority. And as the president put it, if the Senate refuses to act, he will take strong executive action. A White House official just get back to me a moment ago, in fact, Joe, saying that we are still considering all options and no final decision has been made. But what are those options? This official is pointing out that the president has already taken a number of executive actions to try to deal with climate change, including invoking the Defense Production Act just last month to try to boost the solar manufacturing industry. According to a report from the Center for Biological Diversity, which is urging the president to take this more urgent action, he could also consider actions like invoking the Defense Production Act again, suspending offshore drilling, and halting crude oil exports. Now, of course, as the White House is indicating, this is an option that they have been long considering. There was always
they've been considering it, dude. Law, England fucking declares a national emergency at 104. Meanwhile, Vegas is 110 plus all year, even at night. Yeah, it's so wild that like a city built on inside of the fucking desert that is also like using a fuckload of energy and is totally unsustainable is you know, better equipped at dealing with the extreme heat than I don't know, a country that has never had to deal with it. That's so weird. You're doing the thing. You're doing the AC thing again. Climate change. Just fucking turn on the AC, dumbass. I love that. I love that, dude. It's like, it's so good.
A lot of pessimism about these talks that Senator Schumer was engaged in with Senator Manchin. And so they're ready for this moment, but now they're kind of doing the final vetting of these options.
Mike, one of the big challenges is last month the Supreme Court severely restricted the EPA's authority to regulate carbon emissions. So how is the White House trying to work around that ruling and to avoid further court challenges down the road?
Yeah, this decision last month was seen by a lot.
SCOTUS is going to declare it unconstitutional to act out. Like, SCOTUS is going to be like, yeah, it's actually constitutional to kill people that want to take away the profits of the oil and gas industry. And it's unconstitutional to even like declare a climate change emergency because it's not real. It's fucking made. It's Chinese propaganda. Awesome. It's so sick. So good. I love that. Thank you.
Lot of climate activists as a real gut punch. The Obama administration had based so much of its climate policy on using executive authorities, and that was what was struck down by the Supreme Court, specifically the EPA's authority to regulate greenhouse gas emissions under the Clean Air Act. Now, White House officials telling me this morning that they believe that that court ruling was actually rather narrow, that this was one narrow ruling on one specific.
Thank you, Fidar, for the 5 get the subs.
Narrow authority, and they believe that there are still authorities within other pieces of legislation that the president can employ at this point, a range of authorities that a range of agencies, even beyond the Environmental Protection Agency, could employ. And so they believe they're on strong legal footing. But when you talk about invoking a climate emergency, I think that's an effort by the White House to give whatever actions the president were to take even more legal authority. We see this in potential action on climate, and we've also been talking about this as a possible public health emergency the administration is considering declaring in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision on abortion. That's where the White House is really in.
So crazy that like the Supreme Court keeps siding with corporations, even when it comes to like neutering the already minimal marginal amount of power that the federal government has in like regulating these corporations and hitting their you know, their profit margins to, I don't know, save the fucking planet. It's crazy. It's crazy that that keeps on happening, you know? It's just non-political, by the way. Exactly. The Supreme Court, not political, of course. There's nothing political about capitalism, okay? There's nothing political about capitalism. It's just the way things are, you know? It's just the norm, like the top of the hour ad break that comes at the top of every hour, you know what I mean, for 60 seconds. Or a way to avoid said top of the hour ad breaks by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. You know, thank you, by the way, Fidar, for allowing 5 people to no longer see the ad breaks, because that's another way. If you get lucky, you can get gifted a sub. How is Hasan getting the ads done on time consecutively? Because I'm fucking on fire, bitch, okay? Not call me the UK. Call me Europe, because I'm on fire today, okay? Straight up. In a 6-3 decision, SCOTUS has decided climate change has on fundamental right to continue unimpeded. It's just like I've been missing desktop streams, okay? You got that Dutch directness in you now? Yeah, directing this dick in your mouth. Fucking got him. Oh my God, also on fire. Here's the 1-minute ad break now, by the way.
In emergency mode on a number of fronts, Joe.
I mean, let's be clear, Mike. Any executive order from the president on climate is likely going to end up in court. So Congress is still, ideally for the president, the best way to make a lasting change. But we know Senator Joe Manchin, he's come out against President Biden's climate and tax plan now. So is there any hope at all for more negotiations in the Senate, or is it pretty much the president having to go it alone here?
Joe, the vice president was actually out giving a speech yesterday, speaking to the NAACP, and as it relates to a number of Biden administration priorities, whether it be voting rights, taking action on abortion, or other policies, she said, we need 2 more votes in the Senate. The White House, as I indicated, was always skeptical that Senator Manchin was going to come around. You heard the president say this on Friday. He was asked if Senator Manchin had been negotiating in good faith. He says, I wasn't negotiating with Senator Manchin, so I couldn't speak to it. There was a view, even in Democratic leadership, that Senator Schumer was perhaps a little bit too optimistic that Manchin could be brought on board with a robust effort to revive the Build Back Better agenda. And so now what the president is calling on Congress to do, the Senate specifically, is to take the few options that Senator Manchin is willing to go ahead with and try to pass that. But really, any further action on climate specifically is going to depend on the midterm elections this fall.
All right, Mike Memoli, thanks for kicking us off this hour. We appreciate it.
How about the Burn the Haters Act, where if you're for more climate change, we throw you in one of those sunspots they won't shut the fuck up about? Boy, bruv, nothing wrong with a little bit of fucking sun, yeah? I'm getting a fucking 10, yeah? Fancy a proper 10, mate? I'm burning up, mate. Thanks, Sauce. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs, yeah? LMFAO, this chat is so toxic, it's so funny. Why is the chat toxic? Let's see, because we're fucking making jokes or something? Toxic ass. Lol, England fucking declares a national emergency. Meanwhile, Vegas is 110 all year. No, I just thought it was funny, lol. And now your community's attacking me. Ha ha ha. Toxic ass. LMFAO, this chat is so toxic. Bro, you say LMFAO, but meanwhile, you're literally fucking crying in the chat. Like, thank you, Anonymous, with a fucking 25 gifted subs. And thank you, Froska, for the 10 gifted. Bro, we're making fun of you because you made a fucking bad take that you thought was brilliant, okay? Came out, popping off, swinging for the fucking fences, and you missed. It's all good. It happens. Go back to the drawing board and come back with something good. The problem is like the sanctimonious, holier than thou, I'm smarter than you attitude that you came in here with. That's the whole problem. That's why people are dunking on you. Yeah, chatter right now. LMFAO!
Pretty big deal. I've never seen this around any court that I've ever been.
Here is Sheldon, Big Cock, White House. This is like one of the issues. Climate change and dark money are 2 issues the Sheldon White House is great on. Here, let's hear what he has to say.
Involved with, where there's this much dark money and this much influence being used. Here's how the Washington Post summed it up. This is a conservative activist behind-the-scenes campaign to remake the nation's courts, and it's a $250 million dark money operation. $250 million is a lot of money to spend if you're not getting anything for it. So that raises the question, what are they getting for it? Well, I showed the slide earlier on the Affordable Care Act and on Obergefell and on Roe versus Wade. That's where they lost. But with another judge, that could change. That's where the contest is. That's where the Republican Party platform tells us to look at how they want judges to rule, to reverse Roe, to reverse the Obamacare cases, and to reverse Obergefell and take away gay marriage. That is their stated objective and plan. Why not take them at their word? But there's another piece of it, and that is not what's ahead of us, but what's behind us. What's behind us is now 80 cases, Mr. Chairman, 80 cases under Chief Justice Roberts that have these characteristics. One, they were decided 5-4 by a bare majority. Two, the 5-4 majority was partisan in the sense that not one Democratic appointee joined the five. I refer to that group as the Roberts Five. It changes a little bit, as with Justice Scalia's death, for instance, but there's been a steady Roberts Five that has delivered now 80 of these decisions. And the last characteristic of them is that there is an identifiable Republican donor interest in those cases. And in every single case, that donor interest won. It was an 80-0, 5-4 partisan rout, ransacking.
One of my favorite things to always talk about is the difference between how Western nations view corruption, right? It's bribery if you are in, Pakistan, right? Oh man, poo-poo. Those countries do bribery. They're barbaric. In America, we have codified bribery. We have made it legal. It's called lobbying, okay? It's just doing business. Of course, big companies are going to do that. Of course, companies are going to engage in actions that, benefit their shareholders. That's it. Would you box Lindsey Graham? Dude, are you kidding me? Yes. First of all, especially if it's a dude I can just fucking own, destroy physically, why the fuck, especially one that has so much goddamn power, why the fuck wouldn't I do that? It would be literally the greatest experience, dude. It would be the experience of a fucking lifetime, being able to box someone who is a corrupt piece of shit. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you joking? It'd be so sick. I feel great about that. I would absolutely love to beat the shit out of, obviously legally speaking, in the gauntlet, every single fucking congressperson. Obviously not every single one, but I would never touch Bernie like that. I love Bernie, and I would never do that to on Omar and shit. But most. Most. All right, here's what Bernie Sanders is saying about Joe Jebediah Manchin. Okay, let's hear what Bernie had to say about Manchin.
Senator Joe Manchin, of course, abruptly pulled the plug this week on the Democrats'
No, Martha, he didn't abruptly. Martha,
okay. He abruptly on Friday.
He didn't abruptly do anything.
He was negotiating
sabotaged
for a while.
the president's agenda. No, look, if you check the record 6 months ago, I made it clear that you have people like Manchin, Sinema to a lesser degree, who are intentionally sabotaging the president's agenda, what the American people want, what a majority of us in the Democratic caucus want. Nothing new about this. And the problem was that we continue to talk to Manchin like he was serious. He was not. This is a guy who is a major recipient of fossil fuel money, a guy who has received campaign contributions from 25 Republican billionaires. Do you think this guy is serious?
Senator, you say he wasn't serious, but Manchin says his main goal is to do what's good for West Virginia, and he's worried about inflation. Listen to what he told the West Virginia radio station. Listen to this, please.
Is that right?
Inflation is absolutely killing many, many people. They can't buy gasoline. They have a hard time buying groceries. Everything they buy and consume for their daily lives is a hardship to them.
Your reaction to that, Senator?
Well, look, the same nonsense that Manchin has been talking about for a year. West Virginia, it's a beautiful state. I've had the pleasure of being there. Great people. It is one of the poorest states in this country. You ask the people of West Virginia whether they want to expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and eyeglasses. You ask the people of West Virginia whether we should demand that the wealthiest people and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. Ask the people of West Virginia whether or not all people should have health care as a human right like in every other country on earth. That's what they will say. In my humble opinion, Manchin represents the very wealthiest people in this country, not working families in West Virginia or America.
And Senator Sanders, I want to end with, if these provisions don't get passed, doesn't look like they will, what does that mean for Democrats' climate goals and the climate itself?
Martha, it ain't Democrats. It isn't the president. It is the future of the planet. So...
That's so good. I mean, but like, Bernie's the only old person that cares about climate change for some weird reason. All these other old fucks are like, I'm gonna die anyway. Who gives a shit? Make me money. There is Athens, by the way. Fun fact, Bernie got more votes in a Democratic primary than Manchin in a Senate race. Wait, really?
If they don't understand inflation is the #1 critical factor that we...
Oh, this is what, this is the Manchin clip that Bernie was responding to.
That's hurting every family and harming our economy right now. It's inflation. And I'm very much concerned. I have never changed my position. I'm not stringing anybody along. All I said, can't we make sure that what we do does not add fuel to the fire? That's it. If they don't understand inflation is the #1 critical factor that we have that's hurting every family and harming our economy right now.
He doesn't give two fucks about inflation. I mean, you could cool down the economy without triggering a recession with taxes, with the tax increases. So there's that. Colbert and Manchin doesn't care about inflation. Build Back Better was anti-inflationary. His real issue is that the climate provisions might cut the profits of his family's coal business. Yeah. Inflation doesn't seem so important when it comes to the defense budget for Manchin. No, of course not. How does he plan to reduce inflation? By killing workers, dude. Like, he's like, climate change will inevitably kill some of the working poor, so the fucking labor... Well, not killing the working poor, actually. What you need to do is make sure that the working class is exhausted and can't take advantage of the tight labor market. And push wages higher. That's the only way to stop inflation. That's just the only way to do it.